Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and this is my romance novel TBR pile for April 2019. So I'm hoping this is going to be a fairly quick one, you guys. A few of these books are books that I talked about just recently. A few are ones that I didn't get to last month, and so I've already talked about in last month's TBR video. And then the rest are ones that I will go into just a little bit more detail on so you know what I'm reading. So let's get started. The first book on my TBR pile is one that I'm actually already halfway through, Adonis Line by Dakota Gray. This is a road trip romance. This may be my bus square for Romanceopoly. I also have another road trip romance on my TBR pile this year. This month, not this year. I probably have a lot of road trip romances on my TBR pile because that's a pretty common trope. But no, I mean, I have another road trip romance on my TBR pile for this month. But this one is also a road trip romance. It's actually an erotic romance. The hero is a personal trainer and the heroine is a photographer. And the heroine hires the hero to take her on a hiking photography trip. It's very sexy, it's very angsty. I love Dakota Gray, and this book is no exception. It's part of the Filth series, but aside from some of the other characters in the series making cameos, you really don't have to read these in order at all. So I really like this so far, and I anticipate probably continuing to love it because I've never not liked a Dakota Gray book. The next book is Athan by Mary Ting. I've already started this one too. I kind of usually have kind of one paperback, one ebook, and one audiobook going at any given time. Sometimes more than that if something isn't like totally grabbing me and it's taking me a while to finish. But so this one I actually, I'll go ahead and put my Polycon book haul in the cards right now, just so in case you didn't see that, you can get some more details on these upcoming next few books. But I did want to mention this one because this is a sci-fi romance, and I'm reading it for the Alien Avenue Romanceopoly Square, which is to read a sci-fi romance. So this one is sort of seems like a virtual seems like a virtual reality sci-fi book. It's pretty interesting. I hope it stays interesting. But like I said, that one is for Romanceopoly. The next one is also a Romanceopoly pick, also acquired at a Polycon. This is Milady by Laura Sullivan. This is for the Memory Lane Romanceopoly Square, which is historical fiction. So this book is actually coming out in July from Berkeley. It is Milady de Winter's take on the Three Musketeers story, so I'm really looking forward to this. And actually both this one and Athan I am bringing with me to California, which is why I'm filming a few videos today so that you guys will still see my smiling face while I am on a trip. I'm actually bringing those ones with me to California, along with a few obviously on my e-reader, but those two I'm bringing in paperback. The next few I'm going to run through really quickly because like I said, I just picked them up at a Polycon and you've already seen me kind of talk about these in some detail recently. So this one is The Wedding Party by Jasmine Guillory. Then the next one is Deep Trouble by Kimberly Kincaid. Jacqueline and the Beanstalk by Mary Ting. Same author as Athan, actually. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And Not the Girl You Marry by Andy Christopher. So those are all on my TBR for April that I just picked up. So now we'll hit to the ones that I'm going to talk about in just a little bit more detail because I haven't talked about them yet. So this one is Evernight by Kristen Callahan. This is book 5 in the Darkest London series and features Holly and Evernight, female inventor, and Will Thorne, who is a vampire or sanguis demon, but essentially a vampire in this series. We've met both of these characters before. In fact, in the previous book, the one I just finished, Shadow Dance, there are some a significant number of scenes from Holly's perspective, and we've met Will several times. So these are not new characters to the series, but it seems like they have basically just met, and this is probably going to be pretty angsty. So this is also the one that I'm reading for the creature something. Hold on. Creature, I have my Romanceopoly board right here. Creature Crescent. So this is my Romanceopoly. Can you even see that? It might not really be picking up well on camera. But so Creature Crescent for Romanceopoly, because the hero is a vampire, and for this one you need a paranormal romance that has a hero or heroine who is not human. So that qualifies. The next book is also for Romanceopoly, and also a book that I acquired legally, according to my no-buy rules, last month. And the reason that I went ahead and bought this one early, kind of dubiously against the rules, but I went ahead and bought this one early because people were kind of talking about it as a result of some discussion of the history of Black romance as a result of the Rita Award finalists discussion that's been going on recently in Romancelandia. And there was only one on Thrift Books, and I wanted to snap it up because I knew I wanted to read it this year. So this is Final Summer by Angela Vivian. And this is, Angela Vivian is the sort of mashed together pen name for Angela Dews and Vivian Stevens. Vivian Stevens was one of the co-founders of RWA, and also a long-time romance editor and agent. And she wrote just one book with her co-writer. This particular book, it's a hardback. It's very short. It's category length, 180 pages, and is about a widow and a wealthy landowner who is trying, I understand, to develop her husband's family's land. So they meet on an airplane while she's, I guess, going on a trip to visit her husband's family. So this one is probably going to, it was published in 1998. I don't know exactly how this one's going to play out. I've read a lot of category romances edited by Vivian Stevens, but not anything obviously by her, because this is the only one she wrote. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one goes. Okay, so the next book, in fact, the next 3 books are ones that I've already talked about because these are also for Romanceopoly, and I did not get to them last month. So what happened last month was I was doing Buzzwordathon, trying to do Buzzwordathon while at a Polycon, and that didn't work. And I had I don't know, I had 15 books on my TBR. I got caught up reading the Kristen Callahan series and distracted and didn't have a lot of time to read for like a week. So I didn't get to these ones, and these are on my Romanceopoly challenge, so I really want to make sure that I get to them this month. And that is How to Be Alive by Mary Chris Escobar, which is women's fiction, so that's for Women's Avenue. Graduate Nurse by Anne Rush, and you can see I actually already started that one. By Anne Rush for Austen Row, which is to read a classic romance. And this one was published, I think, originally in 1956. So this is a pretty old romance. And then also I Do by Elizabeth Chandler for Growing Pains Place, which is to read a YA romance. And of course, because I don't read a lot of YA, but I do have some vintage YA on my category romance shelves, I picked out this one for that challenge. Okay, so we're down to our last book. That was really fast, like I said. And we are going to start, we're going to end the same way we finished, which is with a road trip romance. So this is Working It by Kathy Yardley. I went looking for a road trip romance on my shelves, and I saw the stack of Blazes, Harlequin Blazes, and I was like, you know what? I bet there are going to be some road trip romances in there. That's definitely a Blaze concept, because it's kind of, road trips are kind of like a forced proximity thing, right? So they're absolutely designed to take advantage of sexual tension, which is what Blaze really specializes in, or specialized in, I guess, because it's no longer an imprint that Harlequin is publishing, sadly. So, Kathy Yardley recently has been, I don't know, I don't want to say in the news, but she had a few books that were sort of geeky romantic comedies. Level Up was one of them, that came out a couple of years ago, and I think she may still be publishing that series. But they're geeky romantic comedies. I think they're adult romances, and so people kind of know her name from that. But she started out as a Harlequin Blaze writer. And so I found a stack of her Harlequin Blazes in my local used bookstore last year and picked up all of them. So, at least all the ones they had. And so this one is a, I think an employer, so like the CEO of a company goes on a road trip with his employee, which is not my favorite trope. I'm not super keen on boss-employee romances. It frequently doesn't work for me, but we'll see. I think everybody that I know is very fond of Kathy Yardley and seems to think that she could probably do this justice. So I'm looking forward to checking this one out and seeing if it works for me. So that's it. I'm trying to catch up a little bit again on Romanceopoly. I sort of fell down on Romanceopoly in January, caught up in February, fell down again in March, and so I'm playing catch up again with that in April. I've also tried to leave myself a little bit of room, so that's only 14 books, and I can actually probably read maybe 3 more than that. I may end up reading the other 2 Darkest London books by Kristen Callahan there. I also don't quite know what the Romance Genre-a-thon challenge prompt is for this month. So I will be probably trying to sort of fill that challenge, whatever that ends up being, with other books off of my TBR. So I hope this has been fun and interesting. Please let me know down below in the comments if you've read any of these books or if you're doing any of these challenges and what you read for those squares, particularly Romanceopoly, because I seem to be having some trouble finding books off of my TBR that fit each one of those squares. For example, I skipped over Leather Lane this month, which was an urban fantasy that's already complete. I've read a lot of urban fantasy, and so and in fact last year I read through all of Patricia Briggs, Mercy Thompson, and Alpha and Omega series, although I guess those aren't completed, so those wouldn't have counted anyway. And then also Seanan McGuire's October Day series. I've read all of Kate Daniels', you know, so there's lots of things that I've actually already read that would qualify for this, but I've already finished them. So I do need another urban fantasy series. If you've got one of those that's already complete for Leather Lane, that would be very helpful. So that's about it. Have a good week. Doubt not, slay some words, and Lex has your back. Bye.